Hi everyone, my name is Matt Kloskowski over at On One, and I want to welcome you back to another Your Photo Our Look episode here, episode number 8. If you want to learn more about it, because if you've watched any of these before, you know I like to be quick. So if you want to learn more about it, just go to On One Photos, ononephotos.com, and just go over here to videos, go down here to Your Photo Our Look, and you can see all the previous episodes. Click on an episode, you'll see how to submit a photo. The idea is you guys submit photos and I edit them. So using a combination of Lightroom and On One. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right to it. Jump over into Lightroom here. Got I think a very common photo if you've ever gone on a whale watching trip of any sort. So I think one of the first things that we always have to do is try to straighten the photo. So these are typically things I'll try to do inside of Lightroom. So cropping and straightening is one of the Lightroom things I'm always going to try to do. So go over here and just grab the straighten tool and just click and drag right along the horizon line. And that'll take care of straightening the photo. Again, I think a lot of times, you know, we have whatever lens that we have on. Sometimes we don't have a super zoom lens in, so I think we want to crop in on this as much as we can, get a decent composition where we can really get more of a feel for what's going on. What I liked about cropping in is I'm going to try to keep this to that rule of thirds, kind of put this in the bottom lower third, rather than do something like this, which you could do, which is actually not bad. I was going to go this way with it, and it includes a little bit of water, a little bit of the mountains, a little bit of the sky there. So, I mean, either one works. I kind of like them both. I am going to try the Lightroom dehaze filter on this. This is in the new version of Lightroom CC, and it's not bad. It's actually doing what I'm afraid it's going to do, and it saturates a lot of the colors and sometimes oversaturates them. So you just got to be a little bit careful there, but we'll hit it with a little bit of that dehaze there. Let's go back up here to our basic panel. Option or Alt-click on whites. Get a quick white point. Option or Alt-click on blacks. Get a quick black point. Okay, and as I see that, I'm going to pull back on the dehaze because I think it's just oversaturating just a little bit too much. All right, so that's looking pretty good there. I'm going to make the jump over into Perfect Effects. And really, the main thing that I want to do here is just contrast. You know, I want to make this. I want to make the whole point of the photo. I really want to make it stand out. I think if you come down here to your tone enhancer area, this is going to be one way that you could do it. Clarity will help out. It kind of just gives the image an edge to it. So clarity is a good option down there. You'll also find there's tonal contrast, which works really well. And you can see that really brings out a lot of the details. In fact, I'm going to keep tonal contrast. But what I'm going to do is what I always do if you've watched any of these before. Typically, we want our subject to stand out. So that's what we've done here. We do all these settings on our lenses to try to get the background to go blurry. So I want to take the edge off of the background. I don't want to add detail to the background here. So I'm just going to take my masking brush and just paint right along the background here. And also the water. That one is, I'm going to turn it off just for a second. Turn it back on. You know, let me remove it from the background and just see. You know, sometimes I try to get rid of it off of the water. Sometimes it looks pretty good. This is one of those times where it actually doesn't look too bad. What I might do is split the difference, reduce the opacity of the brush by about half, and then just do a quick swipe of the brush over the water here, just to remove a little bit of that edge off the water. But I actually think the detail on there is okay. We don't mind adding a little bit of detail to it. Okay, let's add another layer here. Let's see if we can go and put a little bit of warmth in this. I'm going to go to the sunshine filters, and I'm going to try the warm highlights. All right, adds a little bit of warmth to it, but we can also come down here to the warmth section under the filter options and really tweak it and kind of push up that warmth slider. All right, so now we got a little bit more warmth here, and I think we'll just about call it quits. We could add one more layer if you wanted to and throw a vignette on top of it. the big softy. Kind of joked around about this in the last episode. Somebody said, how come you keep using the same vignette over and over again? It's because I think it's the best looking one. So you can try all the other ones, but I think you're always going to end up coming back to this one. And I'll kind of reduce the opacity of just that layer a little bit. So let's hit apply. It'll take us back to Lightroom. And now we can go to our original photo. We will hit reset. And so let's take a look here. So that's our before photo. And that is our after. Once again, before, after. You could always experiment if you want to. Crop in even more. I mean, the whole point of the photo is the whale. So that's not a bad option. Just, go super tight in on it. I would have loved to see this done pre-capture, so you're not losing all that resolution. It's hard to do. You can't always plan these things, but photos like this look great when they have a little bit of scale, like if there was another boat off in the distance or something like that, where you can really see the scale of what's going on here. But again, you can't always control those things. So what we want to do is just try to make it look as good as we can, and cropping in on it, I think, helps. All right, let's take a look at a landscape photo here. First thing that I'm going to do is let's open up the shadows and some of the exposure here just to make it a little bit brighter. Definitely want to crop this photo, so I'll crop in from the top left. Would have loved to seen this done. Here's my thought on it: is nice photo, pretty good light. Way too much sky. This isn't very interesting sky yet. Now, I would have loved if you waited until after sunset, because this would have lit up. I'd love to see if you have photos of this after sunset, because I think this would have been gorgeous with all that light. But before the sunsets, it's just kind of blah. So we would probably want to crop some of that out. I'd also love to see a composition where you went in reverse, and it was more foreground and less sky, and really bring in some of those rocks. But let's work with what we have here. Just kind of minimize some of that sky and some of the extra area out here, because I don't think that's as interesting. Maybe warm this up a little bit. Highlights, I know you're tempted, a lot of us want to bring the highlights down, especially with the sun there, but it starts to look artificial. It's not just supposed to be a ball. It's okay if we have some glow around there. Whites and blacks, Option or Alt click. You got a white point, that's the sun, don't try to fight it. You got a black point here, Option or Alt click. Good blacks. Looking pretty good here, maybe a little bit on the saturation side. I'll always go down to lens corrections, enable profile corrections, and that'll just get rid of a little vignetting and some distortion. You can try the camera calibration profiles. Landscape's always a popular one if you're using a raw file. I think it probably makes this one a little too contrasty, so I'll undo and just leave it where it is. Okay, let's jump into Perfect Effects. What kinds of things would we do here? Well, I think I want to work with some of the color, so I'm going to go to the preset section. If it's a landscape photo, I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record, but the landscape ones work really well. So summer's a really good one here. Adds a little bit of warmth, a little bit of glow. In fact, I really like it. That worked out well there. So we're gonna stick with the summer one. Kind of, you could see it pop the oranges a little bit, adds a little bit of softness to it. So that's good. Let's go ahead and add one more layer here. We'll go to the filters section. I'm not really going to try to add any contrast to this one. I like the nature. I think it's sharp enough. I think it looks good. So I'm going to keep it that way and probably just finish it off with the big softy vignette. Pull that down in opacity. Oh, I am going to do one thing here. And in fact, let's go ahead and let's trash the vignette layer here for a second. Let's add another new layer. What I do want to do is go to my adjustment brush, go to lighten, and I want to bring a little bit more attention to this foreground over here. So I'm going to take a very low opacity brush, 30-40%, and I'm just going to paint. Right up in the foreground. Okay, maybe do another quick swipe over here. All right, and don't forget, you can always reduce the opacity. of that layer if it gets too much. But there's a lot of nice stuff going on over here. That the way the sun skims off of the wave, and the nice colored water there, that little rim light that we have along the top of the wave. I think it looks great, and we want to take advantage of that. So we'll definitely paint in there. We can try to paint in back here a little bit, see what it does. I think that works too, so we'll go ahead and leave that one. And then I can go and add the vignette to the image over here at the end. So just the big softy, and reduce the layer opacity quite a bit on that one. I think it's almost got a natural vignette with the sun here and everything else getting darker. So we don't need to do too much with it. And that'll hit apply, take us back to Lightroom. And if I look at the final photo, if I tried anything, I might try the spot healing brush here and just paint along the rock. I just want to see if I can get rid of that edge, that sun flare that we have coming off of there. And I think that did a pretty good job. We could have done it in perfect layers too, but I just want to get rid of that edge of that sun flare. It might bother some people, it might not. But it's just, you could see that edge there, and it's worth taking a look at if it bugs you. So I think that did a pretty good job. And if you want to blend it in a little bit, just reduce the opacity right over here. All right, let's go to the original image, hit reset, and we'll take a look here. So that's before, and that's after. Again, before, after. All right, let's see what's next here. Got a flower. It's a tough one because it's happened to me many times before. I'm sure it's happened to you, where you're walking around, you see a cool subject, but you're not out at the best time of day. I'd love if this was sunrise or sunset, because the light's kind of harsh. But more importantly, you get all this distracting, just not great stuff around the photo. So what we can do here is we can crop in significantly and try to remove as much of that as possible. All right. We're not going to be able to go too far. I don't want to go too tight on either end, because I don't want the flower to be right up against the side of the photo. So we'll handle the other stuff with a vignette later. But there, I think that's a little bit more pleasing of a composition for this. Gets as much of the junk as we can out. Whites and blacks, Option or Alt click. Get a good white point, get a good black point. These are things that I'll do inside of Lightroom, because I think highlights, shadows, we can pull back the highlights. Don't go too far because it gets kind of dirty looking. But these are things that I'll do in Lightroom, cropping, different things like that. Lens corrections, which I don't think will do much here because it's more of a tighter shot. But that's Lightroom's job. Let's go to the file menu here, because we're going to do a couple of things. I'm going to go through plugin extras, go to layers, because I want to do some retouching first, and then I can jump into perfect effects or perfect black and white, because I'll talk about the processing for this in a second. But I go to layers just so I can do some quick retouching. If you haven't used the perfect eraser tool, you have to, because it is some of the best, cloning and healing that's out there. But let's just see what we can do on some of these little spots here. All right, it's working pretty good. I'm not going to go crazy. I mean, it just, it's insert a few minutes here to spend some time on doing this. I'm just going to try to blow through a couple of the spots just to show you what can be done here. Let's see if we can get that one to look good and not give us a crummy little edge there. Hey, not bad. Not bad at all. All right, so that's, there's a couple more here that we can try to go through and get rid of some of those spots, but that's going to be about as good as we can do, is to try to eliminate some of those distractions. I'm going to jump into perfect effects. I'm going to convert it to black and white, but I do it in effects a lot just because it's got some really nice black and whites there. I don't convert to black and white a lot. When I look at a photo, I would have gotten rid of that spot too if I could go back. I could go back if I wanted to. But when I look at a photo, especially nature, and nature has so many great colors in it, I hate to take them away. But when I look at a photo like this, where the light speaks to you so much, where it's like it's really bright, that's a decent candidate for a black and white, especially when the rest of the light in the photo is not great. So I went with green because there's a lot of green here. But what I'll usually do is just click through the filters down here and see which ones are better. But I think green is going to be the nicer one for that. We can go down. We can add a little bit more detail to the photo. A little bit of blacks. And that'll really help that flower stand out. So that to me is about as far as I would go when it comes to processing this one. We can hit apply and jump back over to Lightroom. And here is our original photo. I'll hit reset. So that's our before, and that's our after. As I look at it, there's a couple things. There's a shadow over there on the left-hand side, so I'd probably crop in a little bit tighter to get rid of that shadow. But nothing too much more to it. I think the black and white conversion almost adds a natural vignette in that we don't even really have to go down here to the vignette section because I think that took care of it. All right, well, folks, that wraps it up for this time. Make sure you go check out on1photos.com, go to the videos section, and go to your photo hour look. You can leave a comment. Love to hear your feedback. Also, you can submit a picture. So just click on whatever episode you want. There's directions on how to submit a picture and how to get yourself into the pool for this, and I'll try to get to your photos. All right, thanks again for watching. I'll talk to you soon.